You are listening to the Body Charge podcast, and I'm your host, Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to the Body Charge podcast. Today's topic is sleep problems, electrosensitivity, and increasing EMF radiation exposure. Children and teens in Sweden with sleep disorders has increased 17-fold since 2001, according to a new study. The authors said the sharp uptick in sleep problems coincided with the increased use of cell phones and the widespread proliferation of 5G cell towers, which emit radiofrequency radiation. My special guest today is Dr. Beverly Jensen, a specialist in natural medicine and the effects of electromagnetic radiation exposure. She's an international speaker, trainer, and certified health coach and has worked in more than 30 countries. Dr. Beverly holds a doctorate in communication from the University of Washington, Seattle, and degrees in journalism from the University of Missouri, Columbia. Her work in strategic communication has been in public health, environmental, and education fields since 1993. So welcome aboard, Dr. Beverly. Lovely to have you on the Body Charge podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
My first question is about what the typical symptoms are of electrosensitivity after exposure or chronic exposure to EMF, because it's so invisible and it kind of disappears and is not in people's consciousness. People may not even be recognizing that that could be a problem affecting their health. So what kind of symptoms typically would one expect?
Yeah, and it's interesting that not only do folks like you and me not recognize that this could be being caused by the EMF, or I like to call it EMR, electromagnetic radiation, but neither do the doctors. You know, it's rare when a doctor, uh, notices some activity or some habit the patient has, and say this could be caused by the radiation in our lives. The most common symptoms is sleep is at the top of the list.
Yes.
It really is globally. I mean, in the United States, there's I think the last number I heard was 70 million people are having sleep issues, and then headaches, severe headaches that are disabling, is another common one. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears. Then there's all the mental health issues of concentration, focus,
Brain
memory.
fog. Yeah.
Yeah, brain fog.
And fatigue. What
And
about fatigue?
Oh
Chronic
yeah,
fatigue.
fatigue. Yeah. I have a situation in which the family's members home I have to visit. And if I'm there more than 4 or 5 hours, I kind of wilt. And it's just like my energy force is just drained. And I when I drive away from this neighborhood, my energy comes back. It's within minutes. So that's quite clear. It's due to all the radiation in that immediate neighborhood. But that's another one, deep fatigue.
Yes, and
Um,
it all adds up, doesn't it? All the different devices. It's never just one thing, but it's the soup of everything that adds up that creates like its own field, doesn't it? When we walk into that field, I feel it also in shopping centers because there's this big concentration of EMR and 5G and I live a little bit out of town, so I'm in a lower level. And we had our house, we had all the Ethernet cables put in the walls so we don't have Wi-Fi inside.
wow,
And
very smart.
I learned a long time ago for better sleep hygiene not to have any electrical appliances plugged in my bedroom, and to have blackout curtains, make sure there's no sunlight coming in. So all of these strategies to avoid stimulation of the brain, because when the brain thinks it's daylight, it releases cortisol, and that creates extra activity, extra metabolism, which prevents you from getting into a deep sleep. But this
Yeah.
new advent of the increase in EMR in our environment is another level altogether from those other more simpler strategies. So can you expand a little bit more on the, how much our
Yeah.
life is affected by these extras?
Um, well, I don't know the numbers in Australia, but in the United States, it's they've found that the average number of EMF emitting devices in a home, in an American home, is 25 now. And that's and then when you've got the smart meter outside the house, that means that those 25 objects are sending pulsing signals, which is the most damaging, is the pulsing signals to the smart meter. So you are creating a field of this in your own home by these all these devices. But let's just talk about the bedroom. I always speak of the bedroom as uh, being a sanctuary
A sanctum.
to
Yep.
be cleared from all of these devices. And the homes where I've gone into take a meter and see what's going on in the bedrooms, people have got not only have they got the cell phone on the nightstand, they're charging it,
Right next
which
to where
is
they
even
sleep.
worse.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so and both people, the husband and wife, are doing this on both sides of the bed. And it's no wonder nobody's sleeping and they've got headaches.
Yep. Yep. I charge
But
mine outside the bedroom, and when my alarm goes
yeah,
off, I have to get out of bed and go outside the bedroom to turn it off.
yeah. Or an option is to get a battery operated clock, the old fashioned analog clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so but just I advise people to have all devices out of the bedroom. And I've been into it was actually a hotel room with the meter, and the RF levels around the room were zero till I got in front of a very big smart TV, and it was turned off, but it was plugged in, and even just plugged in, it was emitting radio frequencies right onto the bed.
Wow, and some
So
people have those big plasma TVs on the other side of the wall, which is their living room, and then they're sleeping like within, inches away from this plugged in plasma TV, like they're in that big field all night, more than
yeah,
the phone.
so when the headboard is against the same wall,
Yep.
or if the bedroom is adjacent to a kitchen and you've got the magnetic field of a refrigerator on the other side of the wall, that would also be a problem.
That's a big one, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
But once you go through and have a checklist of all your electrical devices in the house, it's quite mind-boggling, isn't it? How much we
yeah,
rely on devices and electricity.
yeah. But a lot of it is completely unnecessary too when you stop and think about it. I mean, we really don't need chips in the refrigerator and the vacuum cleaner and the toaster. And in the US now, and I always say there's nobody minding the gate.
Yeah.
Manufacturers are putting chips into everything just because they think people want this or that's cool or trendy, but it's so destructive. It's
So the chips
not a
the
healthy thing.
the chips record information, don't they? And they can also transmit information outside. And this is what you referred to with pulsing, is that right? It's sending messages somewhere and it does that via a certain pattern of pulses.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what
yeah,
interferes with our own biorhythms, that puts it out of sync.
yes, yes. And when we've got a number of these, numerous of these devices in the house. It's quite chaotic energy that's flying around, and it's all unnecessary. I my dad uh, was an engineer working with the U.S. Army Signal Corps, and he we remained in Okinawa all through the '60s. I was a kid, and whenever I wanted to go into the his workroom, he would warn me. I would get this little speech every time, and I never forgot it. That if a device sends radio signals and receives radio signals, it's dangerous. It's emitting radiation, and stay back and keep it turned off. Um, and that's pretty much become my mantra now because it
Mm.
is so accurate. Any device that you've got. If my daughter once said, "Does that mean a radio station is?" No, I said no because it's not. It's sending signals. It's not receiving them from or anything around us. You don't want to live underneath a radio tower, but
Yep.
the rest of us are not being affected by it. No, it's the devices that send and receive signals, and that's emitting radiation, and it affects us because we're all electrical beings. We've got this energy field naturally, and the all of this excessive man-made radio frequencies is completely disrupting our whole being.
It's very jarring. It's a background stress, and people kind of get used to it, don't they? But it drains
Yeah.
them of energy, as you mentioned. And that background stress could cause feelings of anxiety. It's always like you're feeling not settled. Your body actually can't go into the parasympathetic mode of rest and digest properly. So that can interfere with digestion. It can interfere with not only sleep, but many other processes that are part of that parasympathetic system, where those processes only happen when you're in that rest and digest mode. But if something's always pinging you, it's always in the background, stimulating the nervous system to be on alert. You can't ever fully relax. So I've looked a lot into stresses in general because they deplete us of magnesium. The body uses up a lot more magnesium to recover from stress. We pee it out faster and we don't get enough back from the food supply. So that leaves people very deficient in magnesium. And that's the fundamental master mineral for metabolism. And so if we lower magnesium, the immune system suffers. All systems in the body are rationed for energy and so can't perform at their optimal best. So I have my company is Electromagnesium. So we manufacture magnesium that you can absorb through the skin. You can have creams, lotions, spray on versions, but find something that you like to use every day and absorb it transdermally. So it's much better than tablets because it's nutrition really, just going in through the skin instead of the gut. So if the gut is
Okay, good.
compromised, which it is in many people, as you would know with your health background, a lot of people have gut
Yeah,
issues. All of it can be traced back to stress, kind of stress of some kind, chemical stress, electrical stress,
yeah,
radiation stress.
yeah, all of it. Wow.
So
And it's surprising how, and maybe your audience, I'm interested in what do they understand about all of this? Because I'm finding that a lot of the millennials, the what 30 to 45-year olds, aren't really cognizant, aware of a lot of these stressors that we're under, and they're under it worse than my age is.
that's true that the younger the generation, the less they know because they grow up with technology and it becomes second nature. So their phone is like another appendage and they're very
Yes,
fast.
exactly.
I'm always admiring how fast my adult children are at just fingers fly across the device. I'm going, how did you do that so fast? But
Yeah, they laugh at me with my little peck peck.
yeah, I know, I'm with you. But yes, they don't. Well, the body gets used to things to a certain extent over time. So I'm imagining they must have some extra level of resilience. And even within the population, we have differences, don't we? Some people are more electrosensitive than others. And I know this firsthand because my mother was. And she was very intolerant of in electrical stimulation or being too close to things. And she worked a long time and with as a seamstress. And a lot of those machines around her emitted a lot of radiation. And as time went on, they became more and more electronic and less mechanical. And it affected her nervous system quite a lot. And I also have one adult daughter who developed autism for various reasons we won't go into, but she had a few too many needles. And I felt responsible for that because when I was young, I didn't know what I know now. But in any case, she developed such a high level of electrosensitivity. She, whenever I brought her a small TV to watch in her little unit apartment, the next week I would visit her, she'd have it unplugged from the wall and put a towel over the top. And I could never figure out why she did that. I said, "Don't you want to watch TV?" She just felt bad when this thing was on. So, you know, she had a very high level of electrosensitivity, constantly being stimulated. So some people are obviously much more sensitive and picking up this radiation without very much resilience at all. And probably that part of the population is also going to feel the effects of stress more, move into cancer faster, because cancer is usually a byproduct of long-term stress. But the body's been functioning suboptimally. It can't, the immune system's not working well, the detoxification system's not working well. Everything starts to get stuck and
Yeah,
ferment and become acidic. And so the beginning of acidity, cell acidity, drop in pH is a sign of the onset of disease. And it always comes back to not recovering from stress. So,
yeah.
so
I
the
think
advent
stress, yeah,
the advent of EMR, EMF in our daily activity and lifestyle, and you can't go to the supermarket now and there's this shopping center and it's just beaming stuff at you. And I see pregnant women, like largely pregnant, at the counter pushing the products through, and their bellies are right up against that electromagnetic device that's scanning the products. And I'm thinking, what
yeah.
kind of repercussions is that having on the fetus? So close, all day
It is
long.
having repercussion. I mean, there's been studies showing, particularly with a scientist at Kaiser Permanente in California, that the fetus is very much impacted, especially in the last trimester, and the weeks after birth are the most critical time to keep the all radio, I almost said radioactive, but they actually are devices away from the baby. It is very much an effect. In China, they actually are by law, a pregnant woman has to be wearing a shielding thing over her abdomen when she's out in public, and the police will come over and check it.
Wow, that
And
sounds like a great idea.
yes, it is. And we're just not cognizant of this. I mean, I see so many pictures. I've got some on my website of moms with babies or pregnant. I put the circle and a slash across it. Do not do this.
Yep.
She's very pregnant. She's got a laptop sitting on her abdomen. It's just horrific for the fetus.
Yes,
Um,
yes. And people that put their mobile phones in their pocket right next to their heart makes me cringe. Because what are you
yeah,
doing to
I
your
have a
heart?
fan.
It's an electrical organ. It's like the brain.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the other step is we are electrical beings that everything in our body is directed by electrical impulse from the heart or the brain. But then I read in a British newspaper, I won't name it, do not, this was a recommendation for men not to carry the cell phone in their front pants pocket because it actually absolutely has been 200 studies showing how it affects the sperm.
Yep.
Then a doctor was quoted as saying, put it in your breast pocket of your jacket. And I'm going, oh my God,
They don't
no,
understand the
don't.
concept of it, do they? The actual physics of what
Mm,
happens,
yeah,
because I don't think our doctors are really trained enough in the effects of electricity. You know, it's almost like you have to learn
yeah,
to be an electrician. It's instead a body electrician. Well, isn't that how acupuncture works? I mean, we have so much evidence that we are electrical beings, and
yes,
you can change nerve signaling. You can create these amazing effects in the body if you know what points to press or stimulate.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we have the evidence, but we don't want to see it, right? We don't want to give up our
yes.
automation in the household.
Yes, but telecom has worked very hard to make sure that we now learn this. But in fact, I've there was some discussions today with a friend about how the literature for investors in telecom warns the investors of the risk to invest in this their company because of the health effects of the products. They're telling this to the investors, but they
Yep,
do not want the public to know this. But what the public also doesn't know is that the health insurance and or the insurance industry decided in 2015, 11 years ago now, Lloyd's of London had a statement saying that they would not be covering any claims due for health coverage due to wireless technology. So the insurance industry has exited,
yep.
which leaves us, the public, pretty much stranded
In the lurch. That's it.
in the lurch is the
Abandoned.
right word.
Ab
Yes.
Totally abandoned. Yeah. So it's really buyer beware, isn't it? So to save yourself, you've really got to understand what the effects are on your body, know how to avoid certain things. And then we haven't gone yet to the effects on children. Oh my goodness, they have a thinner skull. The research is coming out that they're a lot more affected by looking at blue screens for a period of time. And I believe in some European countries, there are rules that they're not allowed to be exposed in school at a certain age over a certain amount of time. Like they have the scale, but as they get older, they can have more exposures. So we don't have that in Australia yet, but but it sounds like another good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, there's a lot in France. I know for years now they have not allowed any technology in the French word I think is crèche. It's like a preschools, and there will be no Wi-Fi in those spaces.
Yep.
Um, and in the U.S., there's more schools every year are in states now. Some states are saying that for the whole state that the schools will not have they call it bell to bell cell phone ban. But it's interesting though, they have the children put their cell phones turn it off and put it into a backpack in the room. Nobody's talking about the radiation that still comes from those phones in the room,
Yeah.
because unless if it's an iPhone, you can turn it off and it will continue pulsing to
Yep.
reach the tower.
Yep.
And
You
about
you ne
half of us own iPhones.
So you can get certain pockets, can't you, or
Yeah,
cases
shielding cases. Yeah,
shielding. So maybe they need to introduce, we need to do something to protect the children. you can't just remove them from technology. We live in a world of technology, but we need to find that balance where it's a safe technology, it's a safe
Yeah.
type of exposure. And yeah, so what kind of
I've
things do you recommend with your clients, when you're trying to solve the issue of their personal exposures? How do you
Mhm.
go about working out what to do?
First of all, on the website, YOU and EMF, there's a list, a page of steps to take to protect yourself. And the first one is, I call it tame the router. Every home I've been into, the router sits in the living room right next to the TV. And it is probably the most, well, there's competition now, but it is heavy radiation levels. The router should be moved to the least used room in the house
Or the garage?
and or the garage, yeah. And then if you don't have the house wired, if you don't own it, and so that you can wire it as you did very wisely, then you run Ethernet cords to from the router to devices and just throw a rug over the cord so people aren't tripping over it. This is
Yep.
very doable. You should also shield that router wherever it is. And the simplest, cheapest, easiest way to do that is using a metal screening material. They sell it in a roll at the hardware store. This is what we use to replace screen doors or screens on the windows. And it's a very fine mesh. Make sure it's metal because now they're selling a lot of them are plastic,
Mm.
looking like they're metal, but they're not. It has to be metal, and wrap
Like
that two or three.
aluminium or something like that?
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
aluminum. It's easy to wrap that around the router two or three times, and then I just staple the sides shut, and then put a timer on it, a $10 timer, so that it shuts off automatically an hour before everybody's bedtime, so the house is quiet
Wow, that's
at
a great
night.
idea. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great
So
idea.
get the router out of the living room. Another important thing is to do sort of an assessment of every family member's devices and set up a communication center in the house. And when everybody comes in, they put their devices in that center. So people aren't walking around the house, around the home with these devices on them, and they're beaming all the time. This is the only way we're going to get control of this, you know. And then these are simple steps, but not easy because it requires changing behavior.
Mm.
And I mean, until the last 10 years, we did not live in a world where we were available 24/7. And we would instantly answer every phone call. You didn't do that. And
Mm.
if you're going to make this change, you need to tell your friends, I'll be checking the phone, two or three times a day. If there's
Leave a
something urgent,
message.
telephone, actually
Yep.
phone me.
Mm.
But you're not going to be getting notifications
Yep.
and not checking the phone continuously.
And that's
Actually,
very
there's
stressful too. That's the bip. People are
yes,
constantly jumping when the phone makes a noise. And I'm
yeah,
going, what kind of life is that? Turn it off.
yes, yes, yes. There's actually two excellent documentaries that I recommend families watch. One is called Generation Zapped. And another is the Netflix documentary, The Dilemma of Social Media. And every professional in the field they talked to on that uh, documentary said turn off notifications.
Mm.
And I absolutely I've let people know I don't get notifications. Occasionally I check my phone,
Yeah, yeah. So go to
but
your site,
it
go through the checklist, That's the first start, and some things may be hard to change, but make a commitment because it's a really good thing for your health to protect yourself more
Yeah,
from this invisible threat. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean
can't
it's not
see it,
going to harm
smell it.
you. Yeah,
Right.
it's
It's
invisible.
one of those pollutants. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't hear it.
Yeah,
And so people,
it's
and
very
I always say, and
insidious.
when you begin to feel it, you're in trouble.
Too late. Yeah, don't wait that
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
we
it
live
is
in a
affecting all of us.
It is, and we need to increase our defenses more. The need for magnesium has gone up substantially as we live in this
Yeah.
higher stress environment because environment shapes us. And so you need more resources to be able to bounce back and to be able to sleep properly. Take care of your
Yeah.
bedroom and make sure it's the inner sanctum that it should be, the place that you escape to have a quiet, dark space, to have a really deep,
Mhm.
restful sleep. And
Yeah.
turn off the router at night. What a great idea. Yeah, so nothing's pulsing
Yeah.
through the house while you're sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easiest so that you don't have the responsibility is just to put a little
Timer.
timer on it and
Yep.
it goes off automatically. Yeah. Um, I was going to say something else. I don't remember.
So, what about the 5G effect? If people are living or working, often they're in an office environment in the city and there's 5G everywhere. What can they do to mitigate the effects on them on a daily basis? Obviously, you've got more control over your own home. What can
Yeah.
you do in an office environment or any kind of industrial environment where you're soaking up this extra EMR, extra radiation?
Um,
Something you can wear?
yeah,
Like I've seen
there are
people with
fabrics.
pendants, fabrics, pendants.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about the Harmony pendant, and it's using some sort of sacred designs in
Geometry.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sacred geometry, and it's had very good reviews. I've used it for balancing the energies in an individual room. Um, I've also used a card for years from Nature's Frequencies. It's a similar sort of device, which was very effective, I think, till we got to 5G, and
Yeah, then everything changes. Yeah.
yes, it does. Uh, I I became sensitive to this in 2019 but by sitting uh, too close to a router for too long of a period of time. And so I go into if I going into a crowded space, I will usually be wearing some material, some cloth that will be protective. Um, I'm also just trying to improve my own body's frequencies. It, it it's when you become sensitive to this, it is really a challenge and difficult
Yeah.
to overcome it.
It
Yeah,
sounds like we need a lot more engineering involvement to invent defenses, not only to defend ourselves on a personal level, but also in the devices themselves and the way they're set up to mitigate the effects of the radiation that's leaking out, that's being, spread. We need to
there is
work
a
both
router.
ends towards the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We need better technology,
Better
and they can
technology.
do that. There's a engineer in the Netherlands who visited his son's school and looked around and says, "We can do better than this."
Yeah.
And he created a router that has 90% less radiation than the ordinary routers, and it goes to sleep when it's not being used. And you can dial back its radiation radius levels.
Yeah.
So how far that extends out, you don't have to take it into your neighbors. Because if you look on any device and it says networks available, you can see how many of your neighbors' devices are coming in, those frequencies are coming into
Overlapping.
your space.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
And
there's
in the
so much.
cities and apartments, it's horrible.
Yes, it's all one big soup. So
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about with this topic, and we might organize, if we can, another session down the track for a Body Charge podcast, because I think there's a lot of education that needs to happen, a lot of information that needs to be shared to help arm people better to defend and to recover from whatever stress they've been exposed
Yeah.
to from this kind of radiation. So, thank you so much for sharing all your wonderful information.
You.
And it does give us hope that there are people like you out there working to change mindsets, to just alert doctors and governments should be more mindful. We need to be looking at this more closely and not just having a blind eye to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it will be affecting the eyesight too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. It's
Everything.
difficult.
But thank you so
Yeah.
much, Dr. Beverly, and we'll be in
Thank you.
contact soon. Cheers.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
I hope you liked this conversation and will share it with others. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you want to listen to other Body Charge conversations, click like, subscribe, the bell icon, and click all notifications. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates on blogs, podcasts, videos, and magnesium special offers at electromagnesium.com.au. Relax, recharge, and recover.